Hello everyone, it's time for another video. I know I already uploaded today, but that video was supposed to go out Wednesday, but I got caught up with school, so you get a double upload today. So for today's video, I wanted to do a little discussion video. I haven't done one in a little while. I think one of the last ones I did was on media choice. This one is going to be on how to adjust light levels for your orchids. So with orchids, there's a general rule of thumb, and this is not a set in stone rule. You will find exceptions to this. Oh, there's a little gnat trying to fly in front of the camera. There are exceptions to this. However, this is a general rule of thumb that can help you figure out where to place your orchids. So the general rule of thumb is the thicker and larger the leaf, the larger than asterisks, it doesn't always apply, the leaf, the higher the light the plant will want. And so one of the obvious cases is this one right here. This is my Cattleya tigrina seedling. This is just scarring that was on the leaf. It's nothing bad. The leaf is very, very thick, very sturdy, very thick. And so this one, naturally Cattleyas like a lot of light, and I haven't seen a single Cattleya that had thin leaves. Certainly none of mine do. And if I bring down this one, look at that. This is a new one that I got. This is Cattleya violacea crossed on Walkeriana. Look how thick these leaves are, even on this little plant. See if I can get a good... They're very thick, very chunky. So we put that aside. And so Cattleyas and other thick leaf orchids like a lot of light. And within a genus that applies as well, because I have a bunch of bulbophyllum here, as you guys know by now, and not all of them require the same amounts of light. Like this one here, this is my small division of bulbophyllum Tonia Jacobs. Tag right there. This one likes a little bit less light than other bulbophyllums because it looks like the leaf is very thin. Look at me, Lynn, talking like that. Very thin, very flexible. Whereas another leaf, like this one here, no, the light's still on. I hope you did. Probably just saw my nose. Thick leaf like this one. This is a thicker, larger leaf like this one. This is bulbophyllum Wilbur Chang. This is a new one as well. I have one already, but I got a second one just because I like it that much. And it's got very thick, very much thicker leaves, very thick bulbs and stems. This one likes a lot more light and can take it a lot brighter. And so this one, being it's naturally taller, it gets closer to the light than this one does. And then we have bulbophyllum frostii here, which is very thick, small leaves. So this one could probably use a lot more light than I'm giving it. So I'm going to try and get it a little hanger so I can really hang it closer to the light here. But it's got very, very thick, you can see right here, very thick leaves. Whereas as we look at another one, this is bulbophyllum echinolabium crossed on mankind. This is a seedling, so the leaves will get bigger and thicker with time, but for now they don't need as much light because they're smaller plants and the leaves are thinner. A lot more light, and you could risk burning the leaves. And that applies for other things as well. Not always it's not generally with other plants. It's not leaf thickness that usually matters so much, but you know based off the texture of the leaf and whatnot. Like this is one of my rescue bird's nest fern. It's got very thin, flimsy leaves. That one is like a very shady grower. But now to return back to orchids, and then we have Adorable Colin here. Oops, lighting went a little off. This one. Very thick, stout leaves. Well, they're like thinner leaves than Wilbur Chang by a little bit, but they're very stiff still. This one will like it a little bit brighter, and so it's getting a lot of light as well. But then we have other things. If we look at some other orchids here, and these will be examples of where the rule of thumb kind of breaks down a little bit. This is Euchili Marii. The light. I'm gonna try to get the light back in shape. There we go. The leaves are a little thinner and flimsier, but this plant likes a lot of light, so I've got it up near the grow light. And I have another Cattleya seedling right there that I was mounting with. This is Dendrobium jessii back there. That one, the leaves are fairly thin, so it's on the corner where it's a little bit less bright. But then we have some other, like this is like Schilleriana here. This is a thicker leaf, at least mine is, a very thick leaf orchid. So that one gets a lot of light. So does Cornucurvi here. Cornucurvi in some countries, like in their native countries especially, are grown sometimes in full sun, and they're fine. But then we have others over here. Like this is the rescue fowl table mostly. This is my Mucala here. And the leaves are a little flimsier, and it had some root issues, so that's in part why. But it's got very thin, flimsy leaves normally anyway, and they burn very easily in light. That one of the leaves back there I've already gotten a burn on. And then if I take a look across the greenhouse here, and come up here, see if I can find the leaf that has it. It might just be out, yeah, it's just out of sight. This plant, this Phalaenopsis also has a leaf that has some burn on it, and the spike just finished up, but I'm leaving it intact. I don't normally, but this one I wanted to. But anyway, you have Catasetums here. They like very breezy. They like it a lot breezier, because their leaves are thin and long and flexible, but they like a lot of light. So in order to get them that light, they need to be kept cool with like breeziness or cooler temperatures a little bit. But also, at least from in my experience with them, that is key point there. But they also like a lot of light. And then we have Coryanthes macrantha here, which has less flimsy but still fairly thin leaves. So this one gets some bright light. My Vanda Hiroshima choice right here is right under the grow light on the sunny side of the greenhouse. I think it needs to get a lot more light than it is, but I have no way of doing that right now, honestly. But this one, very thick, stiff leaves, so this one gets a lot of light when I can. Whereas then we have other ones, like this one. This is Oncidium. This is one of my Oncidium Twinkle. This is a rescue that I got. Got a few new growths on it right there. But the leaves are very flimsy and thin, and this one doesn't like us nearly as much light. And this kind of also applies to Hoyas as well. If any of you guys are also Hoya growers, well, God, light, the light. There we go. Come on. Lacunosa right here. Oh, there goes the greenhouse light, so that's a little bit more helpful actually. And you can see how dusty Lacunosa has already gotten since I last cleaned it. But anyway, the leaves on Lacunosa are fairly thick, but they're still pretty flimsy, so this one doesn't get a lot of light. Whereas the leaves on Multiflora up there, you can see how light green they are, and this is not because they're dying or anything, and there's actually a spike back there. But they like a lot of light. The leaves are thicker, thicker and a little bit less flimsy, and larger too, so they like a lot of light. And then of course seedlings as well, even smaller seedlings. These are Bulbophyllum Fullerton crossed on Mankind. I can't get too close or else the glare becomes intense. But they're doing pretty well, but they're very thin leaves. So this one I keep a little shadier. I don't keep it under the grow light, but I also don't keep it totally away from the wall. And then we have other Bulbophyllums, like this is Bulbophyllum Elizabeth and Buckleberry, which needs a leaf wiped down pretty desperately from the misting system before it came out here. It came back inside. And we got like very thick leaves. So that one's kept very bright as well. And so you can get a general picture based off of the orchid's nature as well. And so you can look at the leaves, the texture of the leaves, the thickness of the leaves, the size of the leaves, and all of those factors together can help you figure out what kind of light you want to give your orchid. And so for the Bulbophyllum seedlings over here on the corner, they're on the far from the window, but they're on the sunny side of the greenhouse and they're under the grow light. So they get bright light, but they don't get direct sun, and they don't get bright light for all day. It's just a few hours, and then the rest of the time it's the grow light providing a lot of their light. And so this is perfect for them because they're smaller plants, and some of them don't need a whole lot of light anyway. Like Smitten Tondii here, which is a Cestochyllus complex Bulbophyllum species, much like Tonia Jacobs, which has echinolabium in it. It's an echinolabium cross, but they don't need a whole lot of light, so they're usually kept on the edges or lower down. Whereas the larger, brighter light-loving ones are higher up, either normally because of their size or because they've got a little bit of a boost. And so you can see, and there's the Collins bud right there. You can see that there's a lot of differences between just in like one genus alone, and of course naturally because I'm focusing on Bulbophyllum primarily, but also the same thing applies to Cattleyas, because there are Cattleyas that don't need as much light, but generally the whole genus needs pretty good light. But with Bulbophyllum especially, you have a lot of variable hybrids and species, where some of them need less light than others, and some of them could probably be fine in nearly direct sun. And so you got to judge based off the plant's character, and of course, like I said, thicker leaves generally means it'll like more light. but not always. You need to fully judge the plant and also watch its leaf color. You'll see that some of these might not have been, before I got them, because I haven't had them that long, in the best light conditions. Oops. Come on. There we go. So that this one, like this new one's a little bit lighter in color, but these older ones are fairly dark green-ish. Whereas Smithsonian is a nice appley green. And so you can tell the difference between them. This one probably needed more light in the past, but this one was getting just enough. They might have been right next to each other, and they're right next to each other right now. So I'll be interested to see how these new growths evolve. But then you have others that are starting their leaves, like this one back here, Betsy's Star. That leaf is coming out a nice appley green color. And then Colin's new leaf right here came out a little bit darker than I wanted, so this one could probably use some more light. But you can judge based off the leaf color as well. Now with Colin here, you can see, or over Chang, I'm sorry, you see how light, like appley green the leaves are. They got a lot of light where they were before I got them, so I'm keeping it high and close to the grow light on the sunny side of the greenhouse. And then you can tell the leaf color. The darker the green, that does not mean your plant is healthier. That's actually quite the opposite. Quite the opposite, actually. It means that your plant's not getting enough light, and so you want to make sure that the leaf color should be like an appley green with a slight yellow tint. On some orchids will have that. And like this one's an old dying leaf on Wilbur, but that's like this would be too much light if that were a normal orchid leaf. And so with this one. But then there's others where the leaf color, and I don't think I have any right now, because my light's not as intense as some people's. But the leaf color will be like a little bit on the yellowy green size, and that's usually the high end of orchid light toleration. Some orchids will also get coloration in their leaves as a result of the higher light. And I don't have any examples of that right now either, but this one I know you can still see some of that purpley bruised looking style right there. This one develops color on the newer growth, and that's the new growth right there. And so yeah, that's a nice little chat on what I do, like to adjust orchid light, and how you can tell where your orchid should be based off of the plant itself and the leaf color. If it's a dark green, try increasing the light a little bit. If it's too light or a yellowy color, try decreasing the light a little bit. And that's usually the key to success with light, is kind of watching the plant, how it responds to the light it's given and what it looks like normally. And that gives you a good indication of where you should put it and what light you should give it. So that's a good video for that. So if you like this video, please do share, subscribe, like this video up, and comment below what you do if you have any tricks for determining light. And if you have any questions, you can also leave them below. Video suggestions, leave them below. Pretty much anything, leave it below. Jokes, anything. You can leave it below, and I will be sure to respond when I can. And be tuned as well, because if you guys are in the Rainbow Orchid Society, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Mountain Time or 9 p.m. Eastern, I am going live in the greenhouse for a full-on tour of the greenhouse and update, as I do every month. And I want you guys to be there. So please do subscribe, share the channel, and also find Rainbow Orchid Society on Facebook. And be there tomorrow evening for the greenhouse tour. I do these once a month, and there's only one more before I move, unless I decide to do one right before I leave in June. But as of right now, there's only one more, and that's the May one that will be coming at the end of the month, because I am going on a trip midway through the month, and I don't want to do it too early. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.